Hey there, welcome to Coffee Solo for this June 8th, 2025. It is Sunday evening. I'm recording this at about 7:55 p.m. You can already tell my Vegas allergy season voice is in full effect. I love it. And then at the other end of the spectrum, my leg injury is improving every day, hence the title, which I've already selected, Monotonic Improvement. Monotonic means not if it's going up, it's not going down at any point, or vice versa. So in this case, no backslides. So that's good. But yeah, my voice, now I got to tackle that one. I already know what to do. I just haven't been trying to avoid it just so that I can see what's going on with the allergy season this year. Anyway, the summary of today's episode, which I've also written ahead of time. My lower right leg injury continues to improve daily. Another good news, mostly. So yeah, every day has been a little bit better. Today, I went out to get a package that was delivered to a mail room that we have here. And I walked. Yesterday I did have to use the cane a little bit. Today I carried the cane with me but did not use it. So that's good. So every day has been a little bit better. Noticeable, not really measured, but noticeable improvement. And again, no backslides. I've managed to actually not get into trouble, like an accidental twisting motion or banging my ankle on something or something silly like that. In the first couple of days, it was much more sensitive. My entire lower leg just was like a minefield of potential angles and bends and twists and whatnot. Everything was like, but so I've come a long way. It's going to be, it'll be 2 weeks on Tuesday, on the 10th. So yeah, coming along. Almost as good as if I had not done it at all, which is nice. But that's the story there. I will also point out it is hot in Vegas. It's been reportedly over 100 degrees, 101, maybe 102. Where I live in the greater Vegas area, it tends to be a little bit warmer, a little bit less windy, depending on what the weather is. So it always varies from the airport. So I don't know exactly how far off we are, but it's been a little warm. The typical hottest point of the summer in the greater Vegas area was always right in the middle of July sometime. It would predictably sort of start to pick up a tiny little, like a little inflection point up. At the beginning of July, it would heat up until about the middle, and then there'd be a little curvy descent, and then a nice smooth landing throughout the rest of the year, and it was good. But now it seems to be running a little bit warmer. The allergy seasons have moved around. It used to be like maybe mid-April to maybe the end of May, give or take. Now it feels like it started in May, and I know last year it felt like it went all the way until May again. So we'll see how that goes. It's definitely having an impact on my sinuses and my voice and everything. So like a mini nightmare, but one that I can survive as long as the people listening to me speak can put up with it. Speaking of putting up with it, just a side note here, I wrote a couple of bullet items down so I wouldn't fumble too much through this particular episode, but I've noticed if you use not so many text messages, but definitely Telegram. I haven't checked on Signal in a while, but Telegram, maybe this is not unbearable, but like 3 times a week I'll get a hi, or I hope your day is going well. And it's gotten to the point now I just say, do I know you? And they don't answer. The typical, if I do answer and then I say, hey, do we know each other? Or do I know you? Or, once they've responded the first time, they'll say, oh, you were in my contacts and I wasn't sure who this was. Copy paste, not believable, but that's kind of weird. So just an aside there. Lately, maybe because of the temperature, I don't know why, YouTube recommended some local content creators in the Vegas area. So I was checking out some YouTubers roaming around Vegas, mostly on the Strip, it's probably 80-20 Strip versus surrounding areas. Mostly talking about resorts. I saw somebody who stayed at the Strat. He gave it kind of a mostly good, but it was definitely pointing out the negatives. Some comments about don't go to downtown because it's awesome. Don't want it to be too crowded. So a little humor. Somebody else stayed at, no, it wasn't Resorts World. It was, the Plaza. That's right. The Plaza is interesting. I've never stayed there. When I was working for Intel and I was traveling so much, I would sometimes stay downtown instead of having to deal with taxis and whatnot. This is before Lyft and Uber settled into Vegas. Taxis were an arm and a leg. So I was like, it's more fun and more comfortable to stay downtown. So I would stay at the D, I stayed at the D, the El Cortez bungalows. I've never stayed at the Plaza. I've stayed at the Red Rock. Where else did I stay? I've stayed I think it was one other place. It's kind of fun, a staycation thing. I got a room one time at El Cortez for $19. That was definitely cheaper than cab fare. Now the Lyft and Uber, if you get a reasonable, it's probably about $25 for me to get home from downtown, which is still ridiculous, but it's the times we live in. Anyway, so I've been watching these YouTubers, mostly today, a couple yesterday, then today. I don't really do much. I try not to do much as my leg is getting better. So standing is good. I can stand at my standing desk, get some stuff done, watch a couple of YouTubers doing their thing. I saw one hidden restaurants. I think it was 5 off-strip gems. And this is totally usual. So the usual fare for YouTubers creating content here is they go to the latest resort, or they'll check out a weekend special or a all-inclusive deal or whatever. So they basically are advertising, and they do it for money, obviously. I mean, there's really no question. Either LVCVA, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, or the individual venue, or both, pay some of these content creators to make Las Vegas more appealing through their content, in their presentation, I guess. And also, I just saw there's a guy here not leaving Las Vegas, and I cannot remember his name. Yeah, I can't remember his name. He's interesting. I mean, he's a little odd, but then who isn't? But he seems to be genuinely interested in talking about the real Vegas. If you're a Killing Zoe fan, I'll show you the real Vegas. He's done a few of these over the years. I think I started watching him about 3 years ago. Kind of hey, I'm going to walk through East Fremont at night with a friend and see if we get mugged or something. And you're like, okay. So he was doing a little update on crime rates and some goings on the strip and whatnot. And I guess crime is generally up, which is not a good thing. I'll tell you what is kind of up, which is annoying to me since I'm a pedestrian, is pedestrian car interactions. Usually the car comes out ahead on that. Somewhere they keep a statistic about pedestrian fatalities due to car collisions and injuries. Obviously they keep track of that stuff, but they used to publish it. And it'd be like, oh, we're doing better than last year. Only still too many people getting hit by cars. I think it's mostly, and I don't know if I've talked about this here, but I sold my car a long time ago. It's so much easier to deal with walking or taking the bus or Lyft and Uber, or I can always rent a car if I really needed to. So the people here do not know what to do with pedestrians, especially in the suburbs. So I live in the north part of actual Las Vegas, not North Las Vegas. I live in the north part of Las Vegas. People don't know what to do. What is that person doing in the street between those white lines with a flashing walk sign? What does this mean? And they, 9 times out of 10, if I've ever been close to being hit, it was because people turning left as soon as they are able, and then they look at the crosswalk as they are about to enter it. And I'm usually waving at them like, hey, how you doing? And they kind of freak out. So I'm never surprised to see that people are getting into these collisions. I'm usually a little bit surprised that I'm not one of them that's been hit, but I'll keep celebrating nonetheless. There's also been a couple of mentions of tourism being down in Vegas. YouTubers have talked about it. It's been in the news. I read somewhere it's down by as much as 7% for the month of April, I think it is, and that might be an LVCVA stat. Again, that's the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. I think it's lvcva.com. I'll probably put a link in here to that at some point if I really dive into it. They keep track of conventions and visitors and whatnot. They pay content creators occasionally, but I've referred to their numbers on a regular basis. for some authoritative baseline at least. So the run rate was, for the early part of the year anyway, like January, was looking like we were going to be about, I mean, you compare year over year for January, and you're like, okay, it's about the same. So last year, now I haven't looked at the report. Apparently there was I think it was 51 pages of annual like executive rundown or whatever. Probably an executive summary, and then the actual tourism convention visitors numbers and stats and all that. But apparently tourism is down for 2024. And then, so I don't know if it's 40 million. I still say 40 million. I'm going to guess it's probably going to be down to like 38 if this 7% number is indicative. Apparently, they also do surveys. So they ask people if it's their first time and if they would come back, and how do they feel about prices and costs of their entertainment dollar. I mean, the value of their entertainment dollar, cost of accommodations, cost of shows and whatnot. Apparently all of the numbers are looking down, a decline, which nobody loves to hear, of course. But on the other hand, it was only most of the year 2020 when it was way down. So it's hard to say if this is like panic or, okay, we were just here. We know what happens. We lay a bunch of people off, they move away, then later we can't hire people back and we make do and all that. So we'll see what unfolds. It is, like I said, it's difficult to get the numbers, in real time, so to speak. You can't say tourism is down today, but the LVCVA has a whole, if you do visit their website, it's at the top, there's a navigation and it's research. I would like to do some research on your numbers, and you can find out what the demographics and numbers, and it's like week over week and year over year for a corresponding week. And there's a few other things. I will check that out at some point. I'm not too worried about it now, but one of my startup ideas does lean into the fun economy, which is entirely dependent on tourism. So we'll see what's up, but I'll check out that annual report. The Not Leaving Las Vegas guy was talking about that today, but that was a video from 2 weeks ago. So apparently it came out at the end of May. So good to know. I don't know if I've talked about this here, but I did. But the best laid plans, or I love it when a plan comes together. Yeah, when a plan comes together. The Innovate for Vegas Foundation, of which I'm the managing director, is looking to fill at least 2 director seats on our board of directors. Personally, I would like to see it more like 5 people, including me, but just finding 2 replacements will be interesting. Technically, our annual list governance of our organization is to be filed on the 30th of June at the end of our fiscal year. So it seems likely that I will have some blank lines and we'll have to pay another $50 to file an addendum afterwards. So that's always fun. Special shout out to the board members who we are replacing. Thanks. No, it was a long time coming, like I said in the previous episode. So I should have done my my plan should have come together in March. So I'll take some 10% of the blame. Similarly, and so hearing back from people by that, I've reached out to about a dozen people, 0 responses. Not even, because I'm really asking for referrals. I know you're busy, but do you know anybody who's interested in nonprofit work? And the time commitment is like 4 hours a year. So far, I've not received quite the interest I'm hoping for. And similarly, I don't know if I talked about this, the Genius Lunch. The Genius Lunch is essentially, hey, you're busy, but you're also an entrepreneur, which is why you're busy. You're not aspirational or nascent. You are doing it. You are launched, or you are at least working on launching. Nascent is like, oh, we're looking for funding and I have my pitch deck and we're looking around. Aspiring is, I'm thinking about what I need to do to start thinking about what I need to do, right? So we got those. And the startup scene in Vegas is mostly about nascent, aspirational, maybe not even that far. So there's a lot of people that mill around and they check the box. Hey, I'm in the startup scene. I'm here. And so my contention is, well, people who are busy being entrepreneurs or being innovative, or even better, entrepreneurial innovators, they do need to get out of the house or the office or the coffee shop or wherever every once in a while. So the proposal on deck is the reboot of the Genius Lunch, which was back in the Downtown Project days. So figure 6-7 years ago. Hey, we're having another lunch at location on day lunchtime. If you want to come out, you could always bring someone. the idea was that it was people that were doing stuff so that they could talk about what they're working on, how far they're progressing, what's up, what's down, all that. So it wasn't people coming to try to pitch like, oh, I'm looking for clients for, no, 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 no. This is not for you. So it's people doing stuff, people of action. So we're trying to get that going again. We being me, myself, and I, of course, and getting people to respond is another uphill. I think 5 of the 10 people I reached out to are too busy. We initially had a line in the sand for June 11th. That'll be this Wednesday. I'm pretty busy for June, but maybe. I'm like, that's okay. Entrepreneurs are busy. The whole entire point of this is to have a rolling ad hoc, whoever can make it, take a break, go out and talk to people who are in a similar sort of boat, similar state of affairs. And the other aspect of this is, and this was also true of the original Genius Lunch, you don't have to be working on an app. You don't have to be working on your next unicorn tech startup or whatever, which is problematic in Vegas because people think, oh, startup, you must be working on an app. You must be working on some sort of technology. And I'm like, no, entrepreneurs can work on a lot of things. And if we only focus on people working on tech, then you're missing out. I don't know if you heard my Amazon device making noise. So I always tell people, just like Innovate for Vegas Foundation, it's not just like, oh, I'm not a coder. That's one reason we changed from Code for Vegas to Innovate for Vegas. Like, you don't have to be a coder to be innovative or to become involved. So similarly, I don't want people to think, oh, I'm only starting a food truck or opening a bookstore or starting a services business, or like, yeah, you're an entrepreneur. You're starting your own business. You have all the challenges and fun, but you're not building an app. So that's even, you win. So I need to make sure that message gets out. So anyway, I'm trying to get people to not prejudge. Like, I don't know if I can make it. That's okay. And in fact, the email I've sent out is, would this be interesting to you? And we'll put you on the list. Just so that, like a mailing list, right? So that whenever we do have the first one, you will know also when the second one is, or the third one, or whatever, right? So we'll have some sort of a non-recurring, figure out when good times are, when good location, or where good locations are, and so on. But for some reason, there's just a little bit of resistance. Again, like, oh, I don't know if I can make it. I don't have time. I'm too busy the entire month. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But are you interested? I will never contact you again if you want. But if you are, if you think this might be appealing, oh yeah, I guess. Then the other thing is, forget about Meetup and Eventbrite and all that silliness. This is literally like, hey, you guys want to go to lunch? So I'm like, well, just use something like a calendar invitation or an email thread or something. I'll invite 2 people. Each of you invite 2 people. That's 7 people if everybody shows up. I'm like, 7 to 10 is probably the right size. We're not trying to have like a symposium. We're not trying to have like a big presentation classroom. Literally 1 or 2 tables. We can chit chat beforehand, have some conversations. I favor like a coffee shop setup, so it's a little bit more casual. We don't have to, get a table, but and then there would be food there. My thinking is after lunch. So if you have a lunchtime meeting and you're out and about anyway, you can stop by and 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, somewhere in there. Grab a coffee, have a chat, get the gossip. Here's what's going on here. Hey, I heard so-and-so is opening a new this or that at the other thing, and whatever, right? And then go back to whatever you're doing. So it's just taking a break and making contact with people that are here in the greater Vegas area. So we already know it does work. So the question is, will people get it? And the other thing is that there's nothing in it for me other than the value of network connections and the establishment of a second startup scene. Because I think the first startup scene, like I said, is too many people that are aspirational. There's nothing wrong with that. But once you actually commence, starting your startup, I guess, I'm actually working on 2 different things, not to mention trying to be the managing director of this charitable organization. Technically not entrepreneurial, but sort of, but I still qualify because I'm working on 2 different startups. But I'm not like, someday I hope to. No, I have domain names. I have design plans. I guess I have, code and code designs. They both have technical software components. One of them has a much more public human contact element. So that's the second one. The first one I hope to use to promote the second one. Anyway, so So there are people out there here in Vegas who are either full-time or part-time, like, day job plus startup. So they're doing it. They're not going and trying to take a class, or they're not sitting around saying, yeah, one of these days I want to do this. Nope. They've purchased domains. They've commenced paying people to write some code, or they're writing some code depending on their particular skill sets. They're building some other thing. They're doing some marketing. They're telling people, here's what I'm building. And they are building it. They're not just saying someday. So, I mean, to be honest, I feel like I'm behind for some of these, but that's changing. So yeah, we'll see. What I've found, for all of the bluster about being the next Silicon Valley, the greater Vegas area, the culture of innovation, I like to call it, the entrepreneurial innovation ecosystem, a lot of this is new. And, in Silicon Valley, where I was from 1993 until 2013, with a little break at 2001 to 2005, perfect timing to move back to Phoenix for a little while, where I grew up. When in Silicon Valley, when people would say, hey, we're doing an entrepreneur meetup for something, it'd be like, oh, we can only have a dozen people per table. Like, getting people to, meet, because networking was a huge component of how Silicon Valley functioned. Because you never know if the thing you're working on, like maybe you joined a startup, but then it's going to go under, they got to lay people off. So now you're looking, you meet up with, oh, are you spinning off? Do you need a co-founder? Do you need a early, like, founding members of technical staff? And there are countless stories of people, the receptionist at Cisco getting I think it was 5,000 shares of founder stock, rich. Not to diminish the receptionist, but like, if you are maintaining connections, you're making connections, people, you talk to them, you kind of keep your ear to the ground, you end up benefiting in one way or another. There's a long tail. And here I just run into I don't really have time. Like, I'm not doing it for me. Like, I'm not charging people. There's a fee. You pay for your own lunch. That's about it. So that's why coffee is probably appropriate. So I'm on a startup budget. Yeah, me too. So it's all good. We're not going to go for a $50 lunch. No 2 martini, whatever. Coffee shop is minor friendly. So if somebody's under 21 and they want to join in, great. So we want to encourage communication in what I call the second startup scene. So it's not the people that are thinking about it. That's the startup scene. The second startup scene is the people who are doing it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. To be honest, since my leg is still improving, I'm totally fine with slipping the inaugural Genius Lunch reboot from this coming Wednesday to some day later in the month. But still, I do hope we get people clicking, like, the lean in moment. The last bullet item I have is sort of annoying, I guess. It's the news. If you watch or consume the news in any way. And by the way, if I hear one more ad read for ground news, which you will not be hearing from me, it's ridiculous. And if you've never visited that application or the website, there are problems with what they're doing and how they're doing it. But I mean, it probably works, but there's a problem when you can call it binning, when you split up and categorize sources of things. You can drive people. Like, I could use ground news to only find sites that provide me with what I want to read. I don't like that side. I want this side. Anyway, but the news is annoying. Mostly a lot of Trump and Elon lately, which is kind of, I don't know if there was a pool, but nobody thought that they were going to make it. Like, various, humorous bits about, they had to break up during Pride Month. But yeah, the writing was on the wall from day zero. So that was not a surprise. But that's kind of ridiculous. Trump and the Los Angeles stuff with the National Guard, and they're talking about putting military on the ground, and that's a problem. Trump and California, where he's going to pull their funding, all federal funding. And then the response is, we're not going to pay taxes. And then the response is then, well, you'll be arrested for tax evasion. Okay, great. The whole tariff situation in the U.S. Trade Court ruling those basically illegal. The whole list continues. Like, every day is drama of some sort. And yeah, there's something to be said for a boring presidential administration, boring Congress. Like, just do stuff and we'll hear about it. Now, of course, the previous administration did a bad job of telling people what they were doing. Some of it good, some of it bad. But this one, this everyday thing is really ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, I continue to select reaction videos to movies I've already seen instead of consuming too much news. I consume just enough news. And I got to say, I do visit drudgereport.com because it gives a reasonable rundown. Drudge used to lean a lot more to the right, but now it seems like he's an equal opportunity stirrer of trouble. So if it gets clicks, and I don't even know if it's the same Matt Drudge or if it's some other entity or a collection of people. Who knows? When I used to work at salon.com a long time ago, some of the best traffic to any particular article on the website. So I worked at Salon in 2005, salon.com. Like a huge traffic driver, reliable driver of visitors to the salon.com website, Drudge. So there was a special, like we would check for the referrer. So if it was traffic from Drudge, they would avoid the paywall or they'd avoid the whatever roadblock advertisement setup or whatever. So make sure that the Drudge traffic would get through to read the entire article. Very nice. A couple of YouTube channels here and there, but I'm finding they're just, it doesn't even matter. The YouTube commentary, left or right, they're absolutely leaning into the every opportunity to make use of the chaos and attention paid to it to make sure they get paid. So, if we're talking about Elon, and then let's do the fabulous clickbait. It's over. Elon's life is ruined. And if you do waste your time watching such videos, you come to the end and you're like, they didn't actually come through on that title. So I'm even less likely to view that stuff. So I pretty much avoid it. I get a little taste here and there from a couple of outlets that are reasonable. I like the Dispatch, which is right-leaning. I like the Bulwark, which is former Republicans that are now centrist or center-right or maybe even a little left-leaning. They're basically anti-Trumpers. I watch some other people that comment on other content, and they'll pick and choose, and I usually find that to be disingenuous. I read more than I watch those videos, video presentations, so a lot more article reading than YouTuber watching. But yeah, I really mostly just watch history or movie reactions or listen to music. So yeah, I think personally I'm getting a little bit worn out on the over coverage and the hand wringing and the people need to be. I always used to tell people, like coincidentally, when I worked at Salon, one of the analogies was because Salon had its problems back then in 2005. I don't even know if they're still in business. I think they got sold. I described it one time. I said, you know, when you tell someone that's on the front porch of their home, if they have a porch, the stoop, they're outside their front door, they're milling around in the front of their home, say, hey, the back of your house is on fire. And they would turn around and look at the front of the house and they would say, okay. Anyway, no, the back of the house is on fire. And at some point you're like, it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what I do. You're not going to listen to me. So, whatever. That's how I kind of feel all the YouTubers and the hand wringing and the chaos and the freaking out are the people saying, the back of your house is on fire. The people that don't care. And at the time when I was working at Salon, it was the guy who was managing the floor. So I can say his name, but he had a office in an otherwise cube farm. It was only 2 cubes deep. So it ran the length of the side of the building that we were on. So he was kind of keeping an eye on everything and whatnot. He was not a draconian autocrat or anything like that. But so he was the person I was talking to, like, hey, back of the house is on fire. Oh, looks fine to me. So I think the YouTubers are clamoring for people to notice the fire. Some people are like, oh, I'm good. I've already moved everything out. We're putting the fire out. We'll have to rebuild in about 3 years and we'll see whatever. There are people that are capturing the state of affairs. And then the rest of the people are standing on their porch or stoop and they're going, I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. Everything seems fine to me. We're making America great again. So yeah, whatever. Yeah, where are we going? That's the big question. I don't know. Anyway, that's the gist of today. I need to do a bunch of stuff during the week. I really need to find some directors. I really need to get some more code going, some other stuff on the tech side. I need to get a couple more boxes broken down. I got to move some stuff around in my live work loft of sorts so that I can do both of those things more easily. And I have to continue to recover. So I'm actually I have to be honest. I mean, when this mishap occurred, I was like, this is bad. Like, I don't know if I mentioned this in one of the times I've talked about this, but I feel like I was maybe going into shock, a little like mild shock, just so intensely painful. Like, oh, okay, this cannot be a mild injury, but yeah, it seems to have been. And again, I'll remind anyone who didn't hear the first episode about this. I was able to, within 2 hours, I was able to stand on my right foot briefly, but I was like, okay, if there was a break, this shouldn't be possible. And even if there was a sprain, there should be or a strain, a real one. There should be discoloration and bruising and swelling and all that. So yeah, right out, within the first 2 hours of the injury, I was like, okay, this is probably not as bad. So I don't want to tell anybody to not get medical attention when they have a very painful mishap. But in my case, I did my assessment. I actually did walk to an urgent care facility that's across the street. Coincidence. They were ready for me. But by the time I walked there, and it took a while. I didn't sprint over there. But when I got there, I was like, I think the fact that I walked here means my ankle / leg are not doing too bad. Yeah. So every day, a little bit more flexibility and so on. So being extra gentle, being cautious, yet, continuing to not give it. That's the wrong way to say it. I didn't just put my leg up and wait a couple weeks. So every day I've been able to walk a little bit more, stand a little bit more, mostly walking inside. But I have been to the grocery store 3 times in the last 2 weeks. It's across the street, closer than the urgent care. So generally speaking, I got lucky, almost certainly, but still happy about that. Yeah, so busy week ahead. I'll try to do 2 or 3 episodes at least. And that's it of this program. Plus my usual, I've been publishing my regular 5 episodes per week. Monday is Buy Me an Update. Tuesday is Let's Innovate for Vegas. Wednesday is Quaggling Sand. Thursday is FFS Talk. Friday is Cafe Genius Impresarios. So I've done all of those for 2 weeks, and we'll do it again. So that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Thank you for listening. Tell a friend. Don't forget to check out buymeacoffee.com/DanHugo. That's where you'll find Buy Me an Update and the posts section. And then the profile page has links to all of my audio programs that I just mentioned. And we'll see if I can get this voice back to normal. That's it. Thanks for listening. Take care.